Caitlin Clark was supposed to be the savior of the Indiana Fever, but now it looks like she's being set up to fail by her own team. In a shocking turn, head coach Stephanie White admitted they're not getting Clark the right looks after another rough game where Clark shot just 7 for 20, including 1 for 10 from deep.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is what we have to do as a staff to get her better looks, like higher quality looks.
That's a steep drop from her season average, and fans are starting to ask, is this incompetence or something worse? Clark is averaging over 21 points and 9 assists, yet she's also leading the league in turnovers. She's being used like a volume shooter instead of the playmaking genius she is.
I'm telling you right now, this is not good. This side of Caitlin Clark, what we've seen today was just not a good look for her.
And when your own coach says the offense isn't working in her favor, that's sabotage. So here's the real question. Is Caitlin Clark being scammed by the very franchise she's saving? Let us know what you think in the comments, because something isn't adding up. Now, let's not beat around the bush. Something is deeply off in Indiana. Caitlin Clark didn't become the most electric player in women's college basketball by accident. Her game isn't about chucking up threes and praying. They're about instinct, tempo, vision, and breaking defenses before they know what hit them. That's what made her a generational star at Iowa. And somehow, the Fever has done everything but let her play her game. She's made it clear that she thrives in a read and react system. That chaos, that freedom to improvise, that's where she lives.
To this, a system that emphasizes a player movement and reactions to create scoring. That, my friends, is what Caitlin Clark ran in Iowa. And if you don't believe me, check this out.
But what she's stuck in right now is this slow, clunky paint-by-numbers offense that doesn't suit her. And it shows. Even she hinted at it. We want to get into our actions a little quicker, play a bit faster. That's restraint, wrapped in a polite request.
But I mean, I'll tell you, but if you just watch my games, not much ever changes. You know, I like to step back going to the left. I think the thing that makes it really hard is we run a read and react offense. You never know what's going to happen. You can't scout that.
And then the coach, Stephanie White, just outright said, yeah, we're not getting her good looks. That's not an honest mistake. That's either an admission of tactical failure or a clue that they were never trying to let her run things in the first place. How do you bring in a player like Clark, parade her around like your franchise savior, and then bury her in a system that clips her wings?
She said she's going to run the ball, take the ball out of Caitlin's hands. She said she's going to run and react. Now we're hearing from players that is new here saying that they're going to run a motion-style offense.
And it's not just system issues. It's the way this team moves the ball. This is like watching JV practice. Slow swings, no urgency, no decisiveness. They burn 15 seconds off the shot clock just passing around the perimeter, only to dump it to Clark and say, save us. 5 seconds on the clock, ESO. Contested jumper. Rinse and repeat. That looks more like desperation.
This is the very same offense my son high school basketball team run, bro. This right here, facing the floor and creating opportunity.
It's killing development. Not just hers, but the whole team's. And the worst part? Clark's game depends on those quick reads. That fast break chaos? Take that away, and you're not just hurting the team. You're sabotaging a star. Remember preseason, where there were just 20 minutes of play? Most brushed it off, easing her in. But no, that was the warning sign. There was no chemistry building, no tailored sets, no attempts to unleash her. Just business as usual.
She only played 20 minutes. Now, I noticed this early on because Caitlin Clark was not playing on the ball, and then she was doing interview after interview, complete press run. She went on a complete press run saying how she was going to run this damn motion offense.
Then came Vegas, the Aces game, which was brutal. But it was what happened after that that stood out. Clark looked crushed, like the air had been knocked out of her. Not just by the loss, but by the realization that she was being wasted. And what did she say? I wish we could have played a little bit faster, but we did a lot of the things that coach wanted. She's telling you, straight up, this isn't her style. She's complying, not thriving.
Like, she literally was like, oh, what the coach wanted us to do wasn't why we lost. I'm conceding. I was conceding by not playing fast. What is she saying? Like, this is the most damning thing I ever heard Caitlin Clark say.
Now, look at Becky Hammon. She game planned to shut Clark down. Full pressure, targeted traps. Because she knows what Clark can do when she's unleashed. So what did the Fever do to help her? Nothing. They didn't adapt, didn't scheme her into space, didn't give her rhythm. She was on her own again.
She got stripped. She just threw the ball straight to somebody down the stretch instead of, or straight to Jackie Young. She was scared to dribble the ball past halfway line. What the Aces did was they either blitzed or hard-hedged every single screen in the first half.
Maybe they're not doing it on purpose, maybe it's just old-school coaching and rigid playbooks, but either way the result is the same. Clark is being failed by a team that loves her face on posters, but won't let her run the offense. She's putting up over 21 points and 9 assists, sure, but she's also leading the league in turnovers. Why? Because she's being thrown into dead-end plays and told to be a miracle worker with 4 seconds left. It's insulting.
This is the most damning thing I've heard Caitlin. She didn't even say this about Christy Sides. She didn't even say this about Christy Sides. This is damning. She's saying that she needs to stop conceding and play fast, and that doing what the coach wanted them to do was not why they lost.
And fans see it, they're not dumb. They're watching the games, the tape, the spacing, the shot selection, and they're asking, if you've got Caitlin Clark, why isn't the whole system built around her?
She said that unprovoked. That is one of the most wild things. Played perfect in the first half as the offense flow and people are setting screens wrong. As soon as you see the Fever do that BS motion offense.
You don't draft Steph Curry and tell him to be a role player. You don't sign Patrick Mahomes and ask him to throw screen passes all game. You give them the keys. You let them be who they are. So, why is Clark being treated like just another rookie? This league needs her. Not just for her skill, but for what she brings. Viewers, merchandise sales, headlines, and global attention. But if the Fever keeps playing this the wrong way, they won't just lose games. They'll lose the very thing that's making people care. No one's tuning in to see Clark pass around the perimeter for 20 seconds and chuck a prayer. They want the magic, they want the highlight plays, and if Indiana keeps muffling that, this whole moment gets wasted. The worst-case scenario is that she checks out mentally, maybe even starts looking toward a team that'll let her be herself. One that doesn't see her as a ticket sale, but as the core of the entire offensive identity. And here's where it gets even uglier. Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, doesn't even sound like she's on Caitlin Clark's side. You'd expect at the very least that a coach would defend their star rookie in public, especially one carrying the team's offense, ticket sales, and media relevance on her back. But that's not what's happening here, not even close. After one of Clark's roughest shooting nights, when the headlines were already brutal and the fans were demanding answers, White gave a report on the team's performance, and she just mentioned Caitlin twice. There was no nod to her effort, no acknowledgement of the workload she carries. No sign of backing her in the storm. It was a glaring omission that spoke volumes. Clark was invisible in her own coach's recap. That's not how you treat the face of your franchise. That's how you treat someone you're distancing yourself from. Then, when White finally did talk about Clark, it was a mixed message. She said we need to get her higher quality looks and that she needs to change the types of looks she's taking, meaning that the blame is starting to shift toward Caitlin. The same player who's been forced to bail out stagnant possessions and take desperation shots is now being told she's part of the problem, that her shot selection needs to change. No mention of the offense being broken, no accountability for the poor spacing, the lack of movement, and the bad angles, just this subtle suggestion that Clark's struggles are her own fault. And that's not leadership, that's deflection. It's especially frustrating because Caitlin Clark hasn't thrown anyone under the bus. Despite all the dysfunction, despite being swarmed by defenders every game with minimal support, she's taken the high road. After the loss to the Aces, she didn't criticize the coaching. She said, "We did a lot of what Coach wanted." But now we're seeing the other side. The coach, when asked about Caitlin, implies that the shots she's taking aren't good enough. That's a slow turn toward scapegoat. The truth is that Clark isn't being protected by the people who should be in her corner. Instead of building her up, they're subtly nudging her into blame territory. Saying she needs better looks without admitting the system is failing her is just coded criticism. It's like putting someone in a broken car and then blaming them when it won't start. If the Fever wants to build around Caitlin Clark, that starts with having her back. And right now, Coach Stephanie White looks more like a frustrated teacher than a visionary leader. She's managing Clark, not elevating her. And that gap in support? It's only going to get louder the longer this continues. So what's happening here is Caitlin Clark came to change the game, but her own team is the one holding her back. The plays, the minutes, the system. None of it makes sense. So be honest. Is she being scammed by the very team she's trying to save? Let us know what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.